Hello guys, we're still looking at another Cargo Pens video, and this time, alter ego dedication, a dedication that I know a lot of people love. Which, yeah, alter ego just allows you to assume an identity of another person, or a role of some sort of generic background character. So you make yourself into a living mirror, quite literally. Not literally, but you know what I mean. Like you straight up just mirror people, even though not supernaturally. You just that. And yeah, you can assume a role activity, and also you become expert at deception, which you need along with stealth to actually become an alter ego. Then, so this will be good for like a thief rogue, you know, like a thief rogue that already adds like dex to damage and stuff like this. So you want, so if you're a thief rogue or so and stuff like this, then you have points to put into charisma, which will make your deception easier and stuff like this, you know. This will be pretty good. Also bards can make it pretty well. So yeah, now assume a role. So you've spent at least 1 hour studying a creature you intend to copy and have done it so within 3 days. This could include meeting and learning from someone in that role, telling and spying on someone, using magic to observe them at work, or some other method, as long as you have visual source of information. Which, okay, I would allow it that the player's character just remembers it within last 3 days normally. However, the character can make notes to just like read them within like 10-minute break without needing to study a creature if you have already studied. So you quickly and accurately learn how to do mundane jobs, or at least copy movements enough to appear as if you do so. A chosen role can take many forms: cook, cleaner, or librarian, to cult member, priest, or duke. It's always a role, never a specific individual. You perform an impersonate activity to pass as a member of a role observed with +1 circumstance penalty to deception checks. You attempt in your impersonation. This takes the normal amount of time it takes to impersonate. You also choose one lore skill relevant to that lore, such as farming lore for a farmer. While in the lore, you gain +1 circumstance bonus to checks for that lore skill. As if you were untrained in it. And if you were untrained in it, you can use your level as proficiency bonus. You stop assuming the role after 24 hours if you start studying a new role, or if you choose to. Okay, so it's pretty good. Now, alter ego and duelist have a normal duelist. Not the outdoor duelist. Have both were on the list, which, so yeah, you attempt a society. Oh yeah, if an ally, you can see or hear attempts a deception check to impersonate someone or lie. You can essentially just help your ally. Attempt a society check to aid your ally. If you succeed, you recall a few specific details about culture and personalities to help support your ally's deception. In addition to the benefits of your aid, the triggering ally rolls their deception check twice and takes the higher result. This is a fortune effect. which, yeah, may be kind of hard because you both need intelligence and charisma, which, kind of sucks because, then you will need to sacrifice some other stat that would be in your, like, saving throws. Which, I'm kind of like, I'm kind of not into. Or you can just attempt to, like, spread the charisma and intelligence evenly. But I'm not sure if that would work. You know what is the best disguise to work? And luckily, you can copy both using special magical techniques. When you impersonate, you don't need a disguise kit. Instead, simple illusions that were transmutations ripple over your body like mirror shards, providing the supplies that an ordinary kit would. When you impersonate in this way, your impersonate activity gains the occult trait. And fake it till you make it. A very interesting. Oh yeah, and also change of face, which was the last one, and this one were on the list. Both of them have the skill traits, so they can be chosen as skill feats. Fake it till you make it. So when you assume a role, choose two skills associated with that role in some way. If you're untrained, you can use your level as proficiency bonus in these skills, and you gain a +1 circumstance bonus to skill checks made with the skill as long as you remain in that role. You and GM determine skills you assume, which normally would be probably like crafting or something like this. And if you're a cook, for example. And probably if you're already like trained in crafting, then you still get the circumstance bonus, I think. At least that's what I assume. And this is just a normal archetype feat. And in plain sight, which is a skill feat, once again a good thing. While you're in assumed role, you can use deception in place of stealth to avoid notice. Exploration activity in area where someone will with your role wouldn't be unusual, such as when impersonating a sailor or a fisher infiltrating the docks. Which, yeah, now that I think about it, this would be really good if you play a bard. Once again. Because you have high charisma. Like, you have pretty high charisma. Pretty high charisma. So, that would be pretty good. And I think that as long as you have like. But also with Rogue, you can like take a bunch of like generic skills to high levels so you can still attempt the tasks that require intelligence. For example, just legendary into. You would be like legendary in stealth, deception, and society, probably normally as bard, but with Rogue you have like 3 more skills to be legendary at. And in plain sight, which is once again a skill feat, was. Oh yeah, I already read it. Now sound mirror. So you can cast silence on yourself as 2nd level innate occult spell and Viltruism as 1st level innate occult spell, both once per day. You can also use Ghost Out as an innate occult cantrip. You become trained in spell attack rolls and spell DCs, and your key spell casting ability is, not surprisingly, charisma. And muscle mimicry. So yeah, you study as which, yeah, if your enemy makes a disarm, escape, grapple, shove, or trip attempt, which is anything athletics based, and you already are master at deception and have athletic training in athletics, instinctively do so. The time you take the action they did. Gain a +1 circumstance bonus to your athletics check, or +2 circumstance bonus if the enemy critically succeed on their triggering action. You lose this benefit if you don't use it before the end of the turn. Then swap reflections, which wow has a lot of things. Which once per 10 minutes you can do a thing. So the end. So yeah, you can send your own reflections to forcibly swap places with the reflections of an enemy, pulling each other through opposite ends and switching places. The enemy within 120 feet must be both adjacent to a reflective surface, such as glass, mirrors, or water, and you must be able to see the target's reflection and have a line of effect. The target attempts a will save against your spell DC or class DC, whichever is higher. Critical success, it has no effect. You swap success, you just swap positions and arrive adjacent to the target, whichever your target or arrive adjacent to it, whatever the target prefers. Over here, the same, but whatever you prefer, and you instantaneously swap positions with the target. And the target becomes trapped in its own reflections for a minute. Once in each of these turns, the target can spend one action to attempt a will save to escape. If the save succeeds, the effect ends early. Now, now your favorite part of the video probably. Concerning questions with cargo. Ting. Something like this. I don't know. I try to like I don't even know what I tried. Okay. So yeah, essentially I just wanted to ask like one question. Okay, if the enemy crit fails, the enemy is in the mirror. What happens if you shatter the mirror? Does the enemy like just get shot? Does the enemy just escapes? Does the enemy get shattered with the mirror? Or does an enemy become just, or does like just the mirror shatters and the enemy still remains if like one of the pieces of the shard, or like if you break this once again, does the enemy just clone into multiple shards? This one is like a rare thing where I actually need to ask Paizo some questions. Where I actually need to like ask Paizo some questions. And as illusory identity, there are times when skills or looks are not enough to convince someone of your identity, and you instead require adequate documentation. Replacing your methods of Sapphire Butterfly, you've learned how to use magic to forge a new identity as you need. During your daily preparations, you can choose a blank piece of paper, journal, badge, or similar item normally used to display authority or to magically invest. You can use interact action to mentally outline the basic information that is displayed when the item is presented to another creature, such as name, a title, connection to an already existing group or agency, or other basic details. A more complex outline requires more at GM's discretion. That creature must attempt a will save against your deception DC. This item only works while you're holding it. It appears as a blank if anyone else attempts to use it. though you can include the others within the details of the outline. Critical success. The target sees the item being entirely blank and becomes immune to the effect until your next daily preparations. The target sees basic information listed on a specific manner. Add targets described in the interact actions. Not fully convinced the target plays along, but worsens the target's attitude. The target sees information presented on the paper format relevant to your situation with the appropriate language, names, dates, signatures, etc. Critical failure. The target sees the information presented as an item as granting higher level of authority than anticipated. It immediately treats you with proper defense as failure, but the target's attitude towards you improves by one step immediately. It's pretty cool. And now borrow memories, which may be pretty weird. It's pretty weird. Like it's Dark Archive stuff, you know. It's 100% weird if it's Dark Archive. Knowing how someone thinks makes it much easier to know where they will be or place them all together. You can cast Mind Probe as an innate occult spell once per day, using your class DC or spell DC, whichever is higher. If you cast Mind Probe on a target you're studying, for the purpose of assuming the role, and the target fails the save, you can delay the spell from coming into an effect until you assume a role. When you use the spell in that way, you can sustain it up to 10 minutes during the duration, asking the question each time the spell lasts until you ask all 10 questions or are no longer assuming a role, whichever comes first. You don't need to sustain the spell or extend the duration only when asking a question, nor do you need to be in range and have a line of effect to sustain it. And it was me all along, Waluigi! Yeah, sorry. That was a bad impression, okay. It was me all along, Waluigi! I believe this one was better, but you know, still. My nose is kind of, you know. So. That's why it. Okay. Now I can. So. That's essentially. So that's essentially my impression of Waluigi. And now, if you remember Firebrands, at the second mark or higher, you have access to this feat. And if your identity is hidden, either by magical requirement, is if your identity is hidden, you discard the disguise and dramatically reveal your true identity, catching foes off guard. If created disguise using humanoid form or illusory disguise, you immediately dismiss the spell as a free action straight up to your speed and attempt deception check to feint one target within 30 feet. If you succeed, you roll twice and take the better result on your first attack roll against the target this turn. And oh yeah, it is a fortune effect. So yeah, that was essentially the alter ego. A pretty fun archetype. At first I thought it was just like some sort of spy thing because I have not really played an alter ego at all, but now I see that it's more supernatural than that. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. I don't have much more to say, you know. It's pretty much everything I have to say. So yeah. Might just buy, I guess.